New York Rangers are the only undefeated team left in the playoffs and have taken a 3-0 commanding lead over the Carolina Hurricanes. But when people say 3-0, are they dominating or are they barely getting by? And this series is one of those things where it's the closest 3-0 you have ever seen in a long, long time.
Yeah, just a reminder to everybody that we're filming this on a Saturday morning. So by the time this comes out on Sunday afternoon, this series is probably done and dusted, right?
Could be,
So
yeah.
just a heads up if you guys are confused of why are they talking about a series that's already over. That's the reason why. But yeah, going back into this is what I mean. Like, not every 4-0 is the same 4-0. I said that about the Lakers series last year. I said about there's other series in the past where I'm like, games can be close, but a one bounce here and there, it could be 3-0. Yes, a 4-0 sounds like it was a dominating performance. In a way, yes, you won all 4 games. I get that side of things. But, 2 games went to overtime. Game 1 was,
It was 4-3.
yeah, it was 4-3, but, I could say New York kind of dominated
Yeah, New York
for the
had
most
the
part.
thing, yeah.
But Carolina still made it close at the end, right, to be fair.
I think they were up 4-2, they made it 4-3.
Yeah, so, what do we talk? No, we only did a preview so far, so we have to talk about all
We didn't
these.
talk any NHL for round 2 yet.
Here it is, right? We have to talk about Carolina in 2 perspectives. What happens if they do get swept and or ultimately might lose the series, because again, 3-0s don't happen often. Again, I'll give them the credit if they do come back from it, but you are playing New York. They are dominating the shots department. You could say they're getting Shesterkin as well.
They are.
But again, we're not hockey experts. We're learning as we go as well. So I listen to people that kind of are hockey experts or cover it on a lot
digging
more daily
deep.
basis. Those shots are also, a lot of them are just put them on net and see what happens shots, right? And yeah, that may work. We've seen Zadorov have 2 sharp angle goals. The game-winning Oilers goal from Game 2 in overtime was to just put a shot on net and see what happens. Obviously, the other teams have done that as well. The problem is you're doing this against Igor Shesterkin. So he ain't no Stuart Skinner. He ain't no Samsonov and all these guys, right? Yeah, Soros let one in, great, but so that's issue number 1. So their offense is kind of just simple. Yes, you did a good job by adding Jay Gensel. Yes, is Jay Gensel playing like he was in Pittsburgh? No, but he's not playing.
Well, in this series, actually, yes.
He's not.
He's getting his goals. He got goals in Game 3. He got goal in Game 2. Right? He's doing his part.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, something need to change, and they're going to have question marks in the offseason because we're hearing the Rod Brindamore rumors. Yes, the rumor is he going to come back? And they are mutual agreement on a contract extension. They want to get it done, but now him getting swept, does that mean they want to bring him back?
So the thing with the Carolina Hurricanes is it's just the same story over and over again, right? Last year was the first year where they actually finally got past the second round. But this is a team that always loses in the second round.
Exactly.
Right? They're too good to lose in the second round. I have them as my cup winner, and I'm really surprised right now of how they're down 3-0. Honestly, 2 overtime games could have easily gone in their favor. Yes, Shesterkin has made saves that he should make, but he's also made ridiculous saves as well. It's not like Carolina, his 50 save performances are not easy, right? And the high volume shot, it's going to work for Carolina. It should have worked, but obviously now we're in this situation where they're down 0-3. But I'm just saying this right now. Igor Shesterkin is reminding us of who he really is, and he is that goalie, the best goalie in the NHL. And he's a guy that shows up when he's needed most. And in this Carolina series, he was needed most because at the end of the day, he still had a 50 save performance. Not easy to do. You could easily leak 4 goals, right? And then he followed up with another 44 save performance. Again, could have easily lost that game too. But Shesterkin has been that guy. Yes, Carolina, is there some of the saves that he should make? Obviously, he's been making them. But there's some saves where yeah, damn, that's Igor Shesterkin.
But something's got to change, right? Because you're down 0-3 at the end of the day. And clearly the offense, yes, Shesterkin deserves a lot of credit, but clearly you got to figure out east-west plays in the neutral zone. Not neutral zones, right? In their zone. So make them go side to side. Different looks. Special teams, they got to be way better in.
That's the biggest issue.
That's the biggest issue there. Yes, although they got their game-tying goal late, right? Them changing the goalie isn't listen, they didn't lose because of Anderson. They did not lose because of how do you pronounce it?
Kochetkov, something like that.
Okay,
Philip Kochetkov, I think.
Yeah. So like at the end of the day, yes, like you said, they're a good team. They can't get out of the second round. This team should be like conference finals, Stanley Cup finals, at least more than
Should have
once.
made it like
Right.
in this
So
tenure
that
they
being
had.
said, like if they do get swept, there's gonna be question marks because clearly the offense hasn't changed much this year. The difference you made was you added an elite guy in Jake Gensel. He is contributing in his factor, but again, you got to try to probably change the system up a little bit. Does that make Rod Brindamore expendable now? Because we said the same thing about Keefe and Shanahan. They've been here for so long. Yes, their stories first round, and second
Theirs
round.
were just embarrassing.
But
This is still
but
like
then
capable.
This team is so good that they have to reach a final at one point. Like you guys let go, like your Raptor team let go of Dwayne Casey. You won Coach of the Year.
Yeah, no, that's true.
So at the same time, like as good as Rod Brindamore is, he has the established culture. It's about results, and I love that Carolina didn't let him go because I know you're not gonna let him go because he's also a Carolina legend. But at the same time, like we've seen, like Frank Vogel, Darvin Ham, these guys get fired, and the NBA side of things, we see it in the NHL side of things as well. So it's like I like that the fact that kept him there, but 7 years and only
no
one
cup.
conference final appearance.
Yeah, one conference finals, no cup final
and
appearance.
which they got swept in,
Yeah.
or
Yeah, they got swept last
so
year.
you don't even have a conference final win.
Yeah, no, it's weird. Like it's really weird conversation because it's not like they're playing bad. It's really it's
exactly.
really not, right? It's not like they're not really getting shut down either, right? Like you're putting up 50 shots, you're putting up 45 shots at the end of the day, right? You're making the goalie work. It's a different story. Like the Bruins for example, in the Florida Game 3, they weren't competitive in terms of shot department, right? They had only 8 after 2 periods.
Yeah.
Right? It's a different story. That's what happens when you're getting shut down. The Carolina Hurricanes are not getting shut down. They're just finishing is one. It's just that they're like that team. They're just close but no cigar type of team, right? And the Rangers, which we'll get to a little bit right here, they've just found a way to make most of their opportunities where the Hurricanes have not really, especially in this tenure of Aho and Brindamore and all these guys, winning the division and making the playoffs, all this stuff, and have really nothing to show for it.
Two things before we go to the Rangers side of things. One, I guess this question number one is simple. How much belief do you have they'll come back from 3-0? Like, what do you, if you were to end the series, what's the realistic end to it?
Probably, I don't know. It could be all possibilities in my head. Like the series been that close in terms of games, not like obviously the actual series score.
Yeah.
Like I won't be surprised if the Carolina Hurricanes win 4-3 because they have been in every game.
Yeah.
I won't be surprised if the Rangers sweep them and finish the series off before even we've got to talk about it, essentially.
And then if they do get swept or if they lose 4-1, right? Keep in mind we did kind of talk about game one because game one already began for these guys.
These guys start early. Yeah, they start early.
But if they do get swept or if they do lose 4-1, what does this Cranes team do? Like, is it you just run it back, re-sign Jake Gensel to be exact?
That's number one.
And run it back bring back Brindamore because he's a free agent too.
Here's my thing: you flip one of the defensemen and get another goal scorer, because after Aho, now it's Gensel. Obviously, that's gonna fill in that void, which helps a lot. But like after Aho, like the points aren't really there, right? Nature's is good, but he's not Aho level, right?
Seth Jarvis is amazing,
right? He's Seth Jarvis at the end of the day. Like, is he gonna do this again? That's always a question mark for these depth pieces that always step up. Obviously, Svechnikov is the same conversation. His is more injury based as well, and him missing games. But really, after Aho, obviously now Gensel, now after both of them, their attack is really not like it's good, but they could have a third guy, that could be that goal scorer. Like, you have McDavid, Draisaitl, and then you have Hyman, right? They don't have that third guy, in my opinion. It could be Svechnikov if he, stays healthy and starts producing at the same level he was. He had a really good game 3. But I'm just saying, you have 6 defensemen. I don't think you need all 6 at that much cap being given to them, right? Like Brent Burns, Slavin, Brady Shea. Obviously, you signed Orlov and all these guys, right? Like, there's a lot of stuff going into the defense, and don't get me wrong, you have one of the defenses in the league. But I think, if if you're looking for a change, I feel like the best way is to like flip one of those defensemen with a pick and try to get like a solid another winger or something like that, or a centerman.
Okay, issue with
Just
that
any
is-
forward.
issue that is kind of cap issues, not cap like you're lying, but cap issues.
Yeah, yeah.
I still think though their offensive pieces are fine. It's just can they produce more?
That's the thing.
Right? Like,
We've
if
been
you're flipping one of the defensemen, I feel like you could try to flip one of the forwards as well. I see, but like at the same time, the cap like you just extended Aho. You have
you have Gensel to worry about.
you have to get Gensel done if you because I feel like you give that big of a package, you're probably gonna try to re-sign him. We don't know what Gensel's thinking, right? Like Gensel's like I got swept. I want to go to a bigger market or I want to go to a Canadian market. He's American, so I don't know if that how much
Yeah.
that factor is. But like he knows like where the praise comes from is like the Canadian market, whatever. But that's the thing, right? Like I don't. Okay, like
I feel like that's the simplest way to change something.
yes, I'm not saying the goalies are at fault, but we don't know what the health status of Freddie Anderson in the future is gonna be. So you might need to upgrade a goalie a little bit if that's a concern as well, like potential concern. Like you don't want to go into next year. Next thing you know, like maybe again, I'm hoping Freddie Anderson's perfectly fine because blood clots are something dangerous that he dealt with. So he could be forced to retire if something happens in the offseason, right? Again, I'm not knock on wood. I'm not putting anything like out in the universe like that. But what I'm saying is if something happens in the goaltending department, you don't want to have a LA Kings situation or a New Jersey Devils situation whose team is good, but your goalies aren't the greatest either, right? So that's one concern you might need to look at. But like, yeah, like for me, what's your thoughts on Brind'Amour then? Is Brind'Amour coming back? Do you still bring Brind'Amour back? You have a culture set there.
I think
but again, it's been 7 years and he hasn't done anything. Maybe he wants to get paid as a top coach as well.
I think Brind'Amour is back. Like I'm not saying what they should do or shouldn't do. I'm just like thinking of what's gonna happen. I think Brind'Amour is gonna be back. What I think they should do is add more to the forward, and that's what. The thing with the Canes and the Devils situation for goalies is that Kochetkov is young, right? So he has a chance of developing into that guy, right? Whereas like Vanacek, yeah, he's a backup, right? Akira Schmidt, I don't think other than the playoffs, I don't think he really played much NHL hockey from last year.
Yeah.
So like Kochetkov yes, he wasn't great this year. Don't get me wrong, but I think he has a chance.
Can you rely on that too, right?
I need to check his age. I might be completely wrong though.
But no, I'm going back to another thing. I don't think they need to change up their offense if players too much. I think the players are fine. I think, and this is what me again listening to other people as well. I think they need to change their system a bit. Like it works for the regular season, but it won't work for the playoffs, and that's clearly showing for these last couple of years. Even adding a guy like Jake Gensel this year, they're playing well. Don't get me wrong. Like they're getting Shesterkin for sure. Right, maybe they win this series easily. If this was Florida, it could have been a different story because Bobrovsky, we don't know what type of Bobrovsky we'll get usually.
Oh, we're getting a good Bobrovsky.
But at the same
sure.
time, like I think they might. If you even bring Brind'Amour back, you might need to change the offensive system a little bit that is playoff tailored. If you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, but like.
Because again, 7 years in a row, you have no conference final wins and one appearance at the conference.
But I'm just looking. You know how we look at the three guys for each team, right? Especially let's focus more on the forward side. Edmonton has McDavid, Draisaitl, Hyman, right? When healthy, Colorado has Landeskog, McKinnon, and Rantanen, right? Rangers, you have Panarin, Zibanejad, and Chris Kreider, right? And right now, we'll get into the Rangers right now. Alexi Lafreniere is looking like that number 1 overall pick again.
Yeah.
And he's been absolutely, I can't say balling out, but like, just playing great hockey.
He's proving he's not a bust.
Yeah, that's for sure, right? It's like a late bloomer type of thing.
Yeah.
Shout out Just Rain. But yeah, no, like he's finally developing and he's finally producing. I think obviously him playing with Panarin is obviously a big help, right? And obviously Hito being out, obviously
Hito's back. No, that was last game was his first game back.
Yeah, no, but with Hito being out, obviously there's no kid line and all that stuff.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Lafreniere playing with Panarin obviously helps, especially the type of year Panarin has had. But I'm just saying, like, with Carolina's 3, Svechnikov hasn't proven it to me yet in the playoffs. Natchez hasn't proven it to me in the playoffs. I think those two can be those guys. And obviously Seth Jarvis, who had a great round 1, hasn't been that great in round 2. Whereas, like, you have Aho, you have Gensel, but, like, can you get that third guy? It could be Svechnikov.
I'm still fine because, like, they still have a lot more.
It's good. It's really good. Don't get me wrong. But, like, if you're telling me the reason why you're not winning games is because you're not scoring, that's a forward issue, right? That's
No,
where his
and
goals
I
come
get
from.
them. I could still think it's not just a personnel issue. I could think it's a system issue as well. That has to be fair.
That's fair, yeah.
Because I still like you're telling me you have, assuming he comes back, Jake Gensel, Sebastian Aho, Seth Jarvis, Martin Natchez, right? Jordan Stahl's a good two-way player. He's at the final. You got Svechnikov, and I know he hasn't lived up to it, but Kotkaniemi is not that terrible either, right? I'm not saying he's like their top six lock type of guy, but like, so you have a lot of pieces there. Plus, you have a really good defense, like you mentioned, right? Goalie, I'm not going to talk about too much. I just brought up the goalie concern because of the health we've seen from Freddie Anderson and the seriousness of it in the past. I think it's more of a system thing. If they could figure out a different way offensively to figure out what they need to do, then I think they'll be better. I don't think it's a big personnel thing that they need to make like. And you're not saying highway changes or high very big changes.
I'm not saying blow up a defense.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is,
I'm saying you have a lot of
try a
depth
different system, whether that be with Brindamore or without Brindamore or whoever your offensive coordinator, as they like to say, in the NFL or even in the NBA, in the NHL, figure out a different offensive type system, mix it up with the current one they have, and I think they do that. They should do that first before trying to take away.
I know the roster's still good.
And then Carolina's not a team that usually does this. They pay their own guys. They do that. They're very cap efficient in that sense as well. And they're smart that way. Like from whatever I've heard the interviews with on Halford and Bruff when their GM comes on and stuff. So like they're very like they have their own system that way.
It's worked, right? It's not like it didn't work.
But the problem has it really worked because the
okay. So it worked, right?
It works.
It works.
But not
when you look at it, when you look at what the Maple Leafs are trying to do, it works.
That's different. Yes, no, 100%.
Right? Is it the goal? Did you achieve your goal? No.
But I
That's
feel like
a
they
different story.
could get there if they could change one tweak of the offense system and try to get more high. If they could get more high danger chances going on a consistent basis, then I think they'll be fine. That's just me.
Yeah.
Still a very good team. They could come back and win 4-3, and we could be sitting here.
Bro, this series is so close. Yeah. It's very close. And that's what I said. I won't be surprised if Carolina does pull it off, but I also won't be surprised they get swept. That's how tight it's been. But moving on to the Rangers side quickly, we mentioned Lafreniere, and he has stepped up big, and he's gotten, I think, 3 goals in this playoffs, and I think all 3 have come in this series, I believe. If not, he got 2 of them at least in this series. But Zibanejad has shown up.
Yeah, their best players have shown up.
Obviously, Shesterkin. But I'm just going to make this comparison right now. I think what Matthew Tkachuk did last year is what Artemi Panarin is doing this year.
How so?
In terms of a dominant regular season and has carried over to the playoffs, a little bit of revenge in the sense of Panarin is
had a bad loss.
Very poor last postseason against the New Jersey Devils, and to the point now he has an OT winner. He has been involved in a lot of goals, and it's a much better performance this year. And he's kind of reminding me of that little Matthew Tkachuk run that he was on last year. And in terms of dominant regular season, so close in heart, and now he's on a nice little playoff run. And the New York Rangers, can't believe I'm still saying this, and I'm very shocked this is still happening, that they are the only undefeated team. And they remain undefeated in the playoffs.
Credit to the Rangers for correcting their mistake from last year. They went big name hunting like some of these teams in all sports do in playoffs, and it doesn't work out, right? And they didn't bring back Tarasenko and Kane, obviously, for that reason. And it clearly shows that, like, in the year before, they didn't have them. They went to a conference final run. The year they brought them in, they were up 2-0 and then choked the rest with the Devils. And now back to this year, they're the only undefeated team, and one of 2 only undefeated teams in terms of both sports that are in the playoffs right now.
No.
Oh, sorry. Okay, well, the Timberwolves were undefeated.
They're the only one now.
Yeah, they're the only one now, right? And the difference is, like, and then we talked about this in the NBA last episode. Make sure you guys check that out. Was like the Timberwolves and the Rangers are doing it against elite teams in the second round. Timberwolves elite first round matchup as well, right? So that's you're right. Like, it's kind of weird to say that they're 7-0, especially against
when you're facing Carolina
and 2 overtime games.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And it sucks because we say pucks on net. Carolina's the Rangers' overtime winner in Game 3 was literally a puck on net and an amazing tip by Panarin.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but it was still a puck on net that, like, caused that. So,
but this Panarin and Lafreniere duo is really working.
Yeah.
It really is.
Who would have thought, man? Your first overall pick playing with an elite player should help him out at times.
Yeah, I know. I'm just playing him with, 2 other youngsters in Hedel and Capo Kako. Obviously, Hito's been good, but like Kako is also trying to find his game still in the NHL.
Yeah.
And now you move up Lafreniere with the best player on your team, and look what he's produced. I think he produced a 30-goal year this year as well, in the regular season.
Yes.
But overall, this Rangers team, they come to play, and their main player showed up, right?
Yeah.
Zibanejad and Kreider are doing their thing. Panarin and Lafreniere are doing their thing. Pretty sure Fox and all these guys, defensemen, Miller, Schneider, all doing their thing. And obviously, the best goalie in the world is playing like the best goalie in the world.
These Russians and Americans, man, and their goalies. Holy hell.
You got Shesterkin, you got Sorokin, you got
Vasilevsky. And
on the other side, you got Swayman.
Bobrovsky, right? Isn't he Russian?
Yeah, he's Russian too, yeah.
Yeah, so each country has like 4.
And then you got Swayman, you got Hellebuck, you got Demko, you got Ottinger.
If you guys live in the lower mainland of British Columbia and are potentially here on a student visa, worker's permit, or just live alone and just want authentic Indian food, make sure you guys contact BU Food Services as they provide monthly tiffin and food services for you guys. They have multiple options that you guys could choose from and a weekend special, monthly rate of $180 for 5 days, and you can have a 1-day trial for $12 as well. There's free delivery in the Newton area and North Delta area as well, and they're 100% vegetarian. So make sure you guys follow Instagram link down below and contact the number for any inquiries and any questions you guys have as well.
And obviously, we're going to move on to this Jeremy Swayman and the Boston Bruins versus the Florida Panthers.
We're getting this transition thing down.
The Boston Bruins absolutely dominated game one in the sense of they just took over in the end of second period and carried that over to third period. And Jeremy Swayman looked unbeatable in game one.
So does your MVP change to Shesterkin now? Because
Yeah.
he changed like 3 times to the goalies.
Yes. Well, I felt like in terms of goalies only, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Shesterkin.
Game
stepped
one was
up.
definitely the definition of rest versus rust, in my opinion. Because
yeah.
game 2 and 3 were blowouts the opposite way.
Yeah, no, this series, I don't know, Boston's in trouble in the sense of now it might be a decision where they have to go to all-mark in game 4, but
You pulled him. I think he'll be back.
there's a thing, right? They have to make a choice now in goalie.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying Swayman's been bad. Obviously, like the whole team's been bad, and especially how Swayman looked like game 1 and in the first round. But it might just be a type of thing where you might just need to change goalie to try to change momentum, get the momentum back on your side in the series. But it was not a good game 2 and a good game 3. Obviously, you could tell by the scoreline. But here's the thing. The Boston Bruins struggled, especially in the games I saw in the Toronto Maple Leafs, to get shots on net.
Yeah.
This Florida Panthers team is way better than that Toronto Maple Leafs team. Offensively, defensively, and obviously goaltending-wise.
Everybody thought, like, whoever's going to play Florida in the second round, they're screwed either way.
Yeah.
They went to 7, great, you guys are going to probably lose. Yeah, game 1 caused a little bit of concern. But it definitely turned around.
Yeah, so the thing here is that the Bruins are not generating enough offense, and obviously that could be due to their lack of centers.
Attacking players in general.
It could be due to Pasternak not being at the same level that we know Pasternak can be at. But the Florida Panthers they're just better in all 3 phases, right? They're better offensively.
Yeah.
They could produce, all 4 lines could produce a point for them at any given moment. Obviously, defensively, Boston Bruins, I would say, have the edge just because, you got McAvoy, and on the other side you have Ekblad, and all these guys they're very even defensively, but then goaltending is very even, but
slight edge to Boston.
Slight edge to Boston, but not so far in this series because I know Bobrovsky is obviously he has obviously that one save. And the thing with Bobrovsky is his numbers probably don't look great as Swayman's does.
Yeah.
But the thing with Bobrovsky is clutch saves are his thing.
Yeah.
And we've seen that all postseason last year, and we're seeing that all postseason this year, right? Bobrovsky is gonna make that save that's needed most at the most critical time. And that's how he's been playing like.
And like you said, everything you said about Florida is the reason why I have him either winning or making the final. I forget what I picked, but
it's Florida,
but getting to the cup, right? And like I said, Kachuk had a good year, but compared to last year, it was a down year. Compared to last year specifically, but he elevated in the playoffs. Sam Reinhart is proving that he's gonna probably get like a double-digit million contract wherever he goes, whether he resigns or wherever, because he's been that elite. You have the possible Selke winner and Alexander Barkov there. You added a guy like Tarasenko for depth.
You have
They're all around and then they're built like Vegas with size. and speed, and then they're like top to bottom, they're elite, right? The Vegas question mark last year was goaltending, but Aiden Hill filled that void very, very, very well. Bobrovsky is better, right? So yeah, like again, we're not gonna waste too much time in this series because it's literally the game one recap was just rest versus rust, in my opinion. That's
Yeah, I
what
agree with
came
that.
down to.
Yeah, I agree
Game
with that.
2 and 3, again, I let you carry the conversation because
Honestly.
Eastern Conference time, and because
It was just domination.
it's just like what we kind of expected. Like I'm not saying like 6-1, 6-2 or
But
whatever.
here's the thing, right? Goaltending is like this, defense is like this, but offense, Florida's up here,
Yeah.
Boston's down here, and that's what's been the difference so far. Boston Bruins can't generate shots, they can't
Yeah.
generate opportunities on that defense, and it's not because Florida's defense is good, which they are, is that their offense is really bad, because Florida's offense is really good, and they're doing it against a good defense and
Yeah.
against a goaltender who has had a 9.5 save percentage entering game 2 of this series.
Yeah, so like ultimately, like we kind of like obviously I'm not expecting 6-1, 6-2 every game. We may be more dominating fashion, but 4-2, 4-1 type of games. So that was a little unexpected. I'll say that much, but it was expected that Florida should be winning this series at a maximum of like 5-6 games.
Yeah,
Like-
and they're in position to do that, and especially in game 3, let's see what happens. Game 4, let's see what happens there. One Bruins wins could just game 4 Bruins win just shift this series back
Yeah.
into even playing field because it'll be 2-2 and 1. We could also see a potential 7-gamer if the Bruins
Yeah.
could win game 4.
Florida needs to win this game to get home ice back as well. That's the other factor because they split the road, right?
Well, there you go, home ice back.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah,
Because they
my,
won.
yeah,
Yeah.
my bad. But before we move on, to the Western Conference, and those ones are actually fun to talk about. Our team is involved, but
Yeah.
even the other series is good. Make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe, hit the bell icon, the post notification bell to know when we release our episodes or videos in general. As we drop our NBA and NHL separately, the NBA one, like we said, has already been out. So make sure that bell is on when the next NBA one will be dropping. So we appreciate you guys, the support we've been getting recently. Road to 1,000.
Road to
continues.
1,000.
So yeah, hit that subscribe button, and we'll be trying our best on the outside. I know it's been a while since we've got guests on. I am in talks with something to get planned out, whether it be analysts or whether it be just like athletes, coach or athletes, media members, whatever. But again, it's a busy time, not just for us, for all those guys as well, covering multiple sports. Baseball's on as well, and NFL's the only one that has died down after the draft. So yeah, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, and we'll continue on. Western Conference. Do you want to start off with ours?
Colorado.
No, we don't. We want to.
Yeah, we'll end off with our squad. Colorado, Dallas. This is a type of...
This is the definition of a tale of two halves, literally.
Yeah, so both games, the first period and a half, Dallas was dominating, right? Got out to a 3-0 lead in game 1, got out to a 4-0 lead in game 2. And then the third period comes, and that's where Colorado, or the second half of the second period onwards is in game 1, Colorado comes and just starts playing like Colorado. So it's not like you could say it's back and forth. It's just like one is Dallas, one is Colorado. And this sucks for Dallas more. Really sucks for Dallas more because there's no way that the series should be 1-1. That's what Dallas' perspective is. Colorado's looking like that, like, yo, damn, we stole a game. That's what Colorado's perspective is. Dallas' perspective is, how the hell is this 1-1? And how the hell did we do this? Right? They wasted a game. It should be easily up 2-0. And now they
lost home ice.
They lost home ice, so they must win on the road. And Colorado's been good at home. Obviously, they dominated Winnipeg at home this year, winning both their postseason games at home ice. So Dallas has made it tough for themselves. But I would have been surprised if Dallas was up 2-0. Like I'm not surprised the series is 1-1.
Yeah.
But when you watch the games, they're like,
You're surprised it's 1-1.
why the hell is it 1-1?
Yeah, because Dallas in game 1 were up 3-0 the first period, and then they just choked. I don't know what happened, right? I started watching basketball a little bit more.
Yeah,
because I was
like,
oh,
yo, damn, it's over.
And come back to it. It was 3-3, and they ended up losing in overtime 4-3. Game 2, we're like, okay, that was when we were recording the NBA pod.
Like, oh, they made it 4 now.
And it was 4-0, and it was 4-0 heading into the third. Right?
Yeah.
At least the other one, give credit to Colorado. 3 goals. The one beauty about hockey is that no lead is safe. The Canucks came back from 4-1 down against the Oilers in the third period, or near the end of the second period,
Yeah.
the third period.
It was similar, like
The
for Colorado.
Colorado had a bigger advantage with a 3-0 lead. They
Yeah,
they
2
had
periods.
2 periods to do
Yeah.
it. And then, but game 2, they had a 4-0 lead heading into the third period. And we're like, all right, let's just start recording the NBA one now. It's over. By the time we started hit record, it was 4-2. Became 4-3 in the middle of our recording, which, you might have seen Jovin's reaction in the middle of that. But then they ended up closing it out. They also gave up a power play, I'm pretty sure, penalty. So it was 6-on-4. So everybody thought, damn, it's going to be with that high-powered offense and the way they've been looking in the playoffs. It's going to be a 4-4 game going into overtime. But it wasn't. They closed it out with a 5-3 win. So they're lucky. They in a sense you could say they were lucky. They were 1-1 because they almost choked the lead away as well, right? So,
but yeah, that's how I'm looking at it right now in the Dallas perspective or Dallas fans. If I'm like Dallas fans, I'm like, how the hell is 1-1? And if I'm a Colorado fans, I'm like, damn, we stole a game. We really stole a game.
Yeah.
They did their job, right? And right now it's advantage Colorado because they have home ice. They could go out on 3-1 right now if they're playing like how they did on home ice. But I know Winnipeg is nothing comes close to Winnipeg and Dallas. Like Dallas is much superior
Dallas
team.
fans, you should be happy that you've shown that you could dominate spurts. Like you've dominated a half of each game.
And then
more than a half of the second game.
This series is gonna be showing it's been tight. Is like it was. We didn't expect it to be like we expected it to be back and forth, but we didn't expect it to be like one half Dallas, one half thing.
Yeah, it's shown that like if you make a mistake, we're gonna make you pay, or if you're gonna be like lazy, we're gonna make you pay. Literally, that's what it is.
Yeah, you gotta play a full 60 against Colorado, and vice versa. You gotta play a full 60 because Colorado, you can't be going down 3-4-0, right? You got lucky on game 1, but game 2 you lost at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Right, you can't be going down 3-4-0 every game. It just doesn't work like that in the playoffs. Yeah. No matter how good you are, no matter if you have the heart favorite on your team, no matter if you have the best defenseman in NHL on your team. Sorry, Quinn Hughes.
Well, Quinn Hughes is the best defenseman this year. But yeah, like it is Cale Makar. Everybody knows that he is the best defenseman in the league. Consistency over the last couple of years. But yeah, no, like I said about other. Not just games, like I said about standings, like if you're going to be behind the 8 ball from the beginning of the season, don't be mad that for example, my Lakers playing the Nuggets or the Heat doing what they did.
Vegas.
Right? Vegas, for example, as well. Like, don't be mad that you guys are, oh yeah, we got a tough matchup. No, you guys put them yourselves that way. If you guys win, you make a comeback, great. And then the same thing here. Like, yes, you've shown that you can come back, but not every game is going to be like you can make a comeback, right?
And at the end of the day, like, it takes just Ottinger just to, fix up a little bit more. Like, it's not like he's been terrible.
Yeah.
But, like, if we see Ottinger in Game 6 and Game 7 compared to Ottinger in Game 1 and Game 2, Colorado is lucky that they didn't get that Ottinger.
Shout out goes to Chris Tanev, though. That acquisition, and I said it last series as well, going into this series, the guy's turning 35 by the end of this calendar year. So going into next season, he might stay in Dallas. He might go to Toronto, Vancouver, wherever he's going to end up being. And he's going to get paid, and rightfully so, at 35 years old. Yeah, it's risky for sure, but he's been getting better with age and less injured with age as well.
Yeah, that's...
Right? This guy's blocking shots with his face, coming back into the next missing 1 or 2 possession or shifts, and he'll be back, right? Like, the guy changed up Dallas that way. Like, when he's on the ice, there's barely any goals against him, if any, right? So
is Tanev a Bapu, right? Like, is he like...
A what?
Like a Bapu, like a father.
Literally, yeah. That's what like Quinn Hughes and Brock Besser were saying.
No, I'm talking about like in real life. Like, does he have kids?
I don't know about that.
Because if he
I know he's married.
Well, I'm just saying, like, the best way to define father time or beat father time is...
Or father strength. Dad strength.
The best way to beat father time is not becoming a father, I guess. if he doesn't have kids, that would be the best.
Yeah, but like, again, I can't say that. I mean, I think he has a pet, so I don't know how much you want to consider that. But no, like, there's a reason why Quinn Hughes and...
If this is true, I'm not sure. If that's the case, bro, and if you want a long NHL career, don't have kids.
I'm sure there's other players that have that short careers and their dad
don't have kids.
They're not a kid. Yeah, they're not a father. But no, like, going back to what I'm saying, like, people from Calgary are saying, like, man, we didn't really want to let him go. People, like, there's a reason why Ottawa was targeting him when they had no business to target him as a trade deadline piece.
Well, he's just that good, man.
Yeah, like, no, not even. I'm talking about off the ice, right? Besser gets questioned right before the trade deadline. It's like, oh yeah, like, if anyone, I would love to bring Chris Tanev back. Quinn Hughes, right? So the Canucks even letting him go in the first place, in Jim Benning, was a big mistake anyways. And like, you see why. Like, he has the respect from opponents and especially his teammates across now 3 teams that he's been on And he's also showing it. And he's not doing it behind the locker room like how some players are just locker room guys that you see. He's doing it on the ice as well and playing with the top pairing. Played with Quinn Hughes, played with Noah Hannafin, does he play with? No, he doesn't play with Heiskanen.
Well, like to close it out, then he does. But
Yeah,
like,
but, like,
it's right now. It's Heiskanen and Harley, I believe.
Yeah, so like whoever he plays with is like he makes them better.
Is it Lindell?
Maybe like he makes them better as well. So at the end of the day, he knows how to play. He's a great locker room piece, and there's a reason why he's gonna at 35 years old, heading in the middle of next season, he's gonna have a bidding war around the whole entire.
And he's at a premium because he's the right shot.
That too.
Yeah, but I think Chris Hannah has 5 kids, so.
Wait, what? Okay, scrap anything we said.
I'm just saying the best way to defy father time is not being a father. But I guess that does not work with Chris Tanev.
I mean, LeBron James is literally a dad.
Yeah, true, but.
Like, what are you on?
I mean, it shows the. I'm just saying if that theory worked, bro. Chris Tanev.
But yeah.
That's about hockey. Hockey, that's basketball. It's a completely different sport.
Okay, but you said father time in general.
Yeah. But is that it? Like, I don't really have anything to add for the series in terms of it's gonna. I don't expect these games to be the same. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, like I'm not expecting.
I'll be surprised if it's still the same game where, like, you know, maybe this time Colorado goes up 3-0 and blows a 3-0 lead.
Yeah.
Right. I'm just seeing much more back and forth. I'm gonna see much more tighter games like the Vegas and Dallas games. I'm expecting something like that. And I was really surprised of how those games 1 and 2 played out. Yeah, as simple as that. Especially, like, I'm surprised, really surprised that Colorado won game 1 in the sense of,
100%. Like, there's no
not
way.
even that, but I'm talking about, like, you know, if you're looking at the Florida-Boston rest versus rust factor, it should have been Dallas's game.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah.
It was almost that.
It was
until
that,
Dallas let
essentially.
them have it, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, it's gonna be a tough fun series. Like I said, all the series -1 has been great so far. So as we were talking about, the only Canadian matchup, the Battle of Canada, of Western Canada. Pat McAfee's like shouting this series out as
Top
well.
left Canada is killing it, apparently.
The
according to Pat
Couves, Vancouver.
Vancouver's. But the only 2 Canadian teams remaining in the playoffs are facing each other, which is the Vancouver Canucks and the Edmonton Oilers.
And we have thoughts.
Yeah, we have a lot of thoughts.
Because we watched both games from top to bottom. So.
And cried and cheered and then cried again,
All right,
essentially.
very quickly, game 1, it was literally what happened in Dallas series, right? The difference was Edmonton did not look good at all. It was more so that, like, if they lost, Canucks lost that game, you could blame Sheelaws and you could blame Ian Cole, right? Because they like had stinkers on their end. But, like, for the most part, the game opened up like we expected it to be. Edmonton played like they thought they had the win already. And a couple of their goals were like lucky bounces, a great power play from the beginning as well. McDavid was not good at all in that first game. Draisaitl left a little bit injured. So it was like everything was written for Edmonton to steal game 1. That did not happen because the Canucks, and you'll notice a theme, game 2's third period and game 1's third period, completely opposite. Vancouver dominated the third period in game 1. Horrible goaltending from Stuart Skinner for some of the goals that he allowed. As well, JT Miller with an amazing tip, but the game winner goal by Connor Garland was very questionable on Stuart Skinner's part. And then his goaltending was also a question mark in game 2, but the difference was the star power of Edmonton in game 2 carried because they reunited Hyman with McDavid and Draisaitl.
Yeah, obviously with Draisaitl's injury, they're trying to like protect him a little bit by putting him in on McDavid's wing.
Adam Henrique's also back.
That's also another reason because they would have 4 centers still with McDavid, Henrique, I think Fogle, and Nuge.
Yeah.
Right, who could all be centermen.
McLeod, I think, is a center.
Or McLeod, yeah. So yeah, that also helps when you could just load up your line whenever you want, and that's true. Their star power, McDavid is one of the best bounce back performers we've seen in the game. Obviously, him and Jake Onger are like the 2 ones I see that really bounce back well after a loss or a poor performance.
And Skinner didn't even have a great performance.
And no, here's the thing with Skinner, right? In game 1, they lost kind of because of Skinner. He's to blame, right? In game 2, Skinner did what Skinner needed to do.
He made the saves that he needed to accept the Zadorov goal.
Yeah, except for his Zadorov one, obviously that he shouldn't have let that in. Don't get me wrong, but like when your offense is cooking that much, especially that one line, all you just have to worry about is just make the next save, and that's what Stuart Skinner did after the Zadorov goal, right? He made it 3-2. There were chances where Lafferty hit the crossbar. There were other chances where I think Besser had a clear shot on goal in third period.
PD stick exploded.
That was like in the first period.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying in general.
Yeah, but I'm talking about third period where Skinner made the next save.
Yeah.
Right, Skinner made the next save after his roll.
Especially when like the shots were
and even at the end,
complete opposite of what Edmonton was in game one.
Yeah, like he wasn't tested in the third period at all. So which is a little bit credit goes to Stuart Skinner. And in game two, goaltending was not an issue for both sides, in my opinion. Skinner did what he's supposed to do. Seelos had a great game, absolute incredible game for Archer Seelos. He's not to blame at all. You know, like what goalie? How many goalies can really save a McDavid breakaway, right? And he also robbed McDavid like once too in the first period. And obviously, how many people could also save a clear Draisaitl shot on a power play in front of the net?
Yeah,
right. But yeah, no, Seelovs was incredible. He bounces back. In my opinion, it has to be Seelovs again in game 3, even though DeSmith has won both of his games in Edmonton during the regular season. But let's just talk about how do you contain Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl at the same time.
Yeah, so here's
that's the issue.
Like I said, using the examples from the previous games, like game 1, they made it a big note that like this is how we have to defend McDavid. Like, if this was just McDavid on his own line, you have to put like 3 guys in behind him. You can't blitz him or whatever the case may be, right? Because we saw in game 2 what happens when you pinch and he gets the breakaway and the game and that goal, right? There's one play in game 1 where Elias Pettersson made that diving stick save to prevent that to happen. And then credit to Carson Soucy, who gave the puck away, had a good stick. Philip Hronik had a good stick on him as well to frustrate him, right? Game 2, we know that McDavid was not going to do this again. And we'll talk about the reffing in a second, but the now that they've combined it, the problem now this is literally the definition of a one-line merchant. This game was that.
Yeah, it was just carry.
Outside of one shift of that fourth line where they kind of pinned us in our own zone in the third period, it was just like that McDavid, Hyman, and McDavid, Hyman, Draisaitl line carrying the offense.
What do you think is gonna happen? Like they were that like they turned into desperation mode a little bit because McDavid and Draisaitl played 27 minutes each.
Yeah.
Like because a forward doesn't play that much.
Evander Kane is like too busy arguing as Zadorov and then not accepting a fight when he needed to accept a fight.
But no, like yes, don't get me wrong, Edmonton depth has to be better, but they weren't really that bad either, right? They did their part.
No, but the problem is if they're gonna be playing 27 minutes, the Canucks depth is better. Now here's the thing. Stuart Skinner made the saves when he needed to make the saves. You're right, but the problem is the matchup. This is going back to your question about what they need to do going forward. Both teams, but let's talk about the Canucks first. I think you need to alternate. It is the JT Miller line that's on that line. Now, it worked in game 1 because it was strictly JT Miller and Connor McDavid. But now you have Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, and Leon Draisaitl is a much better face-off man than Connor McDavid. And we saw that in the first game, the face-offs were skewed to Vancouver a lot more. Like Lindholm was 14-4, right? 14 win and 4.
Yeah, face-offs.
This one, he was still good. He was in the positives, but
it wasn't good face-off wise for the Canucks.
The thing is, I think you need to alternate between the 3. Like Elias Pettersson is a very underrated, very capable and good defender himself. You're not gonna get because at the end of the day, neither line, all 4 of them, especially the 3 main ones, are not gonna get much offense if you have McDavid, Draisaitl, Hyman, Bouchard, and Ekholm on the ice, right? Like there's no way.
One of the best 5.
You'll catch up in moments, but the problem is, the Canucks are also playing a lot of hot potato in the third period, which is why I'm like, people could blame the reffing all they want. I agree with that, especially with the second period. Tocchet even said like, give credit to McDavid and Draisaitl. They play like superstars, and he hated the slew foots. Again, we'll talk about the reffing.
That was terrible, man. That was dangerous, and he didn't call any of them.
But the point is, you're not going to get much offensive zone time on times on the ice, and your biggest play driver in this playoffs has been JT Miller's line, the biggest one. But if you're going to be using that as a strict matchup line against that line, you have 2 options. Either you still alternate the 3, in my opinion, right?
Well, at least between the 2.
At least for sure between Lindholm and Miller.
Yeah.
Right? Because PD has been playing well. It's just his lanes are letting him down. But the reason why I'm saying you could alternate them is because Makheyev's a very good defender himself. Like, he's a penalty killer. He's known for that. PD's very good.
Yeah, PD has looked dangerous, but
his line mates in these 2 games.
Now, like, this is where you got to assess it, right? Like, if you... Like, who has been your best offensive line? It's between Lindholm and Miller. Those lines, right? Obviously, in game 1, the difference between game 1 and game 2, especially offensively, The Miller line was focused on defending McDavid. I don't know why my nose is getting
Okay,
plugged. The Miller line is focused on defending McDavid, and the Lindholm line stepped up, where all three of Lindholm, Joshua, and Garland got goals.
yeah.
Game 2, nobody stepped up in terms of lines, right? PD scored, but that was a power play goal, right? PD couldn't drive his own line. The Lindholm line, again, yeah, they weren't
good.
They weren't good in
great.
terms of offensively,
Yeah.
right? Like, and then obviously Miller line was just
Just put it this
they
way.
were pinned in because of McDavid and
Put it this
Draisaitl.
way: Miller, Lindholm, I think, Joshua, and there was another guy that didn't, Hronik. All these guys did not get shots on goal in game 2, right? Game 1 was McDavid. So, like I said, going back to what I was saying earlier, I think you need to alternate the matchup with McDavid and Draisaitl, because I feel like all three lines are capable of doing that when they need to. And especially, like, I need to see JT Miller and that line in the offensive zone a little bit more. So maybe give them the McLeod. Now, it's different because you're heading to Edmonton. They have home ice advantage. Plus, they have this choice of putting them out. Like, it's like they have the second pick of which line they want out to match up against whatever line's out, right? So, like, Tocchet had the choices in game 1 and 2. Now, you don't have that luxury anymore. So, if it could work out, we'll see how that goes. But the other thing is Edmonton loaded up. And listen, like I said, I think Elias Pettersson has been good in this series.
In terms of he looked like he's doing something.
Yeah, it's just that his line mates are not letting him down. Like, I don't get happy when Mikheyev has a scoring chance because I feel like it's going to be a miss anyways.
PD had a great first
So
period.
you reunite the Lotto line, right? And put Pia Suter centering Mikheyev and Hoglander, and then you could use the Lindholm line as the matchup line. Because I feel like, or even head-to-head. Because I feel like those two lines going head-to-head will be also great as well. Filip Hronik hasn't looked great in this series. Like, Dorov has been the second best defenseman in the playoffs in general after Quentin Hughes, right? So, yeah, for me, there's two options. You alternate the matchups as much as you can and get different looks on offensively, because I feel they're all three are capable of at least containing McDavid, even the fourth line to some degree. And then otherwise, if that doesn't work in game 3, you put a lot of line together.
Here's my game plan, right? Game 3, you focus on alternating matchups between the three, especially between Lindholm and JT Miller line. In terms of, because I'm assuming McDavid and Draisaitl will meet together again with Hyman. And if you lose if the same thing happens, then game 4, I think you go Lotto line and don't match him up against McDavid. And then you go Lindholm line matching up against the McDavid line, alternating with, I think Pia Suter should be the fourth line center, and I think they should have Teddy Bluger centering Mikheyev and type of thing. But I think Teddy Bluger might
either way works.
Better work defender. If you have
Pia
Bluger,
Suter's a good defender too.
Yeah.
So that's why I said Pia Suter. Doesn't just watch.
I might just go, if you want to have a pure shutdown line, I might go Bluger, Suter, and Mikheyev.
Sure, that works too.
And put
Hoglander's been horrible.
Put Hoglander on the fourth line, and then you have
Not to make this a fully Canucks thing, but we're gonna talk about Edmonton in a second here.
I mean, we have talked about Edmonton. We talked about McDavid and Draisaitl.
Yeah, but
we
I'm
talked about the players that.
What Edmonton needs to do better. Stuart Skinner needs to be better than he even was in game 2. That's number 1. And their depth just needs to step up.
Yeah, they're more of a depth thing. Yeah.
But it still baffles me that Darnell Nurse is $9+ million defender, because he's been horrendous. Giveaways from his own end. Like, that's, if him and CC are on the ice, that's when the mistakes were happening from them a lot. And listen, Bouchard makes mistakes on the defensive end his own right, but he was fine. It's just this one. It's like I noticed Darnell Nurse being bad. Like, when he gets forechecked, he gives the puck away way too much. The Canucks did not take advantage of on some of them, but that duo has not been good at all, and they need to step up for Edmonton.
They haven't been great.
And you paying him like he's your best defenseman,
He's barely even third.
Yeah.
On your team.
Exactly, right?
So Ekholm and Bouchard, oh my God.
They're good, right?
They've been cooking.
So, yeah, and then the overtime is unfortunate. Ian Cole, once again, was a factor in that. And listen, Tocchet took the gamble with the Lotto line coming out. They did not take advantage. They then returned it by putting out the fourth line. And then those guys came out with McDavid, and then unfortunately a bounce happened, and the goal occurred there.
Like, I know we're acting like, I know a lot of credit goes to McDavid and Draisaitl, but like, we're acting like, I feel like the narrative has kind of become like yes, McDavid, Draisaitl took over. Don't get me wrong, they did. But the game was 4-3, and an overtime victory for Edmonton.
And Edmonton was chasing the game for the most part.
And Edmonton was chasing the game, so it's not like the Canucks were bad. Like, the Canucks played well in both games.
Those Oilers writers, I'm saying it was easy Oilers, whatever. No, it's not. Like, Yes, the Oilers fans might be kicking themselves a little bit that we gave away game one as well. Like it's the same way Dallas fans are feeling, which is understandable because facts
Yeah.
are facts. So it easily could be 2-0 for Oilers right now, heading back for a potential sweep. But realistically, 1-1 makes sense. Like that series as well. It's just like the way it happened. Like I said, the Canucks gave away this game because the third period they've been horrendous. They were playing, like I said, giving the puck away a lot. They're poking them out. No offensive zone time really. When they did, Stuart Skinner
It was just like
made the save when he needed to make the save.
it was just like park the bus type of thing
Yeah.
for the Canucks in the
and
third
that can't
period,
happen.
especially with a 1-goal lead against McDavid. But
But
yeah, no, we're like the way like yes, we're like McDavid and Draisaitl deserve the credit, but like it's like we also look at the fact that
we're
like
right there.
because when McDavid and Draisaitl being at their best, they only won 4-3, right? They only won in overtime. They didn't have a lead the whole entire game,
Yeah.
right?
So
So
on top of that, you got to talk about it now.
the rest,
They did get some ref help, right? I'm not saying like that was the reason why we lost. Don't get me wrong.
it's because of McDavid and Draisaitl.
Yeah.
That's the reason why we lost.
I'm not the fan that goes after the refs, but that second period, I
But
thought they had a good first period, and the third period outside of that Quinn Hughes slew foot that Kane did,
No, third period wasn't great either.
but like the
There-
second
there
period was horrendous.
when you have an opportunity to get McDavid off the ice for 4 minutes, you will take that every single time,
Yes.
especially when the guy plays like 27 minutes.
Yeah.
And in this case, again, obviously this reminds me of 2 years ago where we were up 3-0 in Edmonton in a game one of the year where we just absolutely, choked. I think the year Boudreaux got fired.
Yeah, the year we gave up leads every
And
game.
then Hughes got fully high-sticked, no call, and then they scored on their own power play, essentially, because it happened like during Hughes' PK. And the same thing happened. McDavid high sticks, Quinn Hughes bleeding. McDavid should be off for 4 minutes, but no. And then obviously, we're not complaining too much because the Dora scored like right after. But what I'm pissed off about is what happened in the end of the second period when P.S. Suter interferes with Connor McDavid. Right? A little elbow nudge to McDavid. Ref calls it instantly. McDavid high sticks Hughes, bleeding. The ref has to look at his own mistake because they had to take off Hughes, knowing because he was bleeding. Why do you think he got cut?
Yeah. It wasn't a follow through either, if you're wondering.
No, it was full on.
He didn't even have the puck.
It was a full blown high stick.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm not saying McDavid's a dirty player, but I'm not saying
Yeah,
that.
we're not.
But like, it was just a full blown high stick. His stick wasn't just hit it in Hughes' face, fully bleeding. 4 minutes, right there of no McDavid.
So there's other situations where McDavid first beginning of the game had a interference thing or something happened, did not get called. The interference after even the high stick after he got interfered with was also did not get called. Somehow a 4-on-4 happened when Hoglander gets speared into the groin area. Let's just say that,
Yeah,
and he gets a penalty as well.
for no reason.
There's a couple
yeah.
of slew foot misses that are dangerous plays where people get kicked out of the league and suspended for.
Evander Kane slew footed
Yeah.
Quinn Hughes in the third period.
Yeah,
I don't know how that was not called.
yeah,
Like,
exactly.
Quinn Hughes is the Norris winner this year. Quinn
So-
Hughes has been the best defenseman in the NHL.
That's my point here. I'm gonna go with this. Let me go here for a second. We know there's a thing, especially in the NBA, superstar calls is a thing, and we get that. I'm not saying you don't miss calls on McDavid. Like that's egregious. You miss it, right? The problem is Quinn Hughes is a superstar, right?
Exactly.
So
Why isn't he getting the calls?
Exactly that, and then on top of that, like the other thing that annoyed me is, and Ian McIntyre and all the people put it. You took that. Remember that scrum that led to a 4-on-4 was like
With
Susie
Susie
got the
got,
box?
yeah, like why is that a power play
you
for the
took,
Edmonton?
You took a while to figure out if P.S. Suter, if was that a delay of game or not, whatever. How is this not a discussion on the high stick?
Yeah, like why
With
don't you?
clear blood coming out of his thing, right?
Like, you see-
I would understand if a puck hit him, or
Bleeding,
I would
man.
even understand if it's like a follow through shot happened, like we've seen before. This was not that one of those.
You review a
cases.
delay of game. You review a delay of game penalty.
I don't think they reviewed it. There was a massive discussion about it.
It's same shit, man. It doesn't matter. And there's a guy clearly bleeding on the ice, and you're like, nah, nothing happened.
Yeah.
Right? Like he cut himself. Like it makes no sense to me. And then obviously that 4-on-4, the Hoglander getting a penalty for him getting hurt makes no sense to me. And I'm just counting like from games 1 and 2, I've counted at least 3 to 4 occasions where McDavid should be in the box, and all 4 of those times were not called. right?
Yeah.
Game 1 initially, to start off with a holding,
Yeah.
right? McDavid held Miller.
Yeah. Again, I'm not gonna complain about game 1 too much.
But I'm just saying, when there's,
No.
it's been on Edmonton's
Let
side.
me say.
I'll just say that much.
Let me say this stat quickly. Kelly Sutherland was reffing this game.
Hate that guy.
He's the main ref. There's obviously 4 refs. Like he's one of the main
Yeah.
refs. Well, 2 linesmen and 2 referees. And there was a thing going around before game 2 started. I texted you. I texted my buddy when I was at work. I was like, "Hey, this guy might be the Scott Foster." And after the game, right before I went to sleep, I texted you because obviously I'm not gonna walk to where your room and be like,
Yeah, my
"Oh,
room's,
this would happen."
my room's nice.
And then okay, was like in the last 8 playoff games, the Canucks are 0-8 when refed by Kelly Sutherland, going back to 2011. Keep that in mind because again, Canucks haven't been great after 2011, and in their last whatever regular season games refed by him, there was 2 wins, 2 overtime losses, and like 8 regular season losses. So yes, conspiracies or not, again, we're not saying this game was lost because the ref was egregious.
It's because McDavid and Drasser were superstars.
Yeah,
That's why.
that's why we lost this game.
But there were opportunities when
to take him off the ice.
McDavid should have been off the ice for at least 6 minutes in this game, and another like 2 or 3 in the.
Yeah, so
Not 3, 2 or 4 in the first.
The point is, like,
game.
yes, superstar gets called, but a superstar calls her thing. We know that. We've seen it in the NBA.
But this one was a little bit different. Like, a superstar gets called. Like, if in terms of they're getting fouled, right? It might be soft calls, like the one Suter did on McDavid for that interference call. But the issue is that when the superstar is doing the penalties himself, that's what bugs me.
Again, not calling McDavid dirty.
Yeah,
because we've seen
Because
players just have penalties.
They're normal penalties. They're normal penalties, right? It's not like he's like freaking targeting someone.
Like
Evander Kane is dirty.
Okay, so keep that in mind.
Evander Kane is
Before
dirty.
we hit record,
Yeah.
I was just looking on Twitter. Someone tweeted at Rick Dolua if there's gonna be a Department of Justice hearing or whatever from the NHL. No, so there's no there's no meeting, or I forgot what the word is, like
Hearing.
for a hearing for a potential suspension on anyone.
Evander Kane is a dirty player. That slew foot was dirty.
Yeah.
McDavid just took normal penalties. But what pisses me off, like I was saying, is that McDavid is getting away with it with taking penalties.
And the next minute,
that's
gets
what
hit
pisses
and
me
it's a
off.
penalty. Yeah.
Like him getting hit, whatever he gets a call, superstar calls are a thing. Yeah, do we hate it? It sucks. Don't get me wrong. But when that guy's doing the penalties and he's not getting called, that's a little bit annoying. And you saw me fired up, throwing pillows. And I'm getting fired up again.
But that being said, this series should be long, like we said. Now, hopefully, the Canucks split Edmonton or even win both like they did in Nashville. The trajectory is there, but we'll see how it goes. Again, we're Canucks fans, but we're trying to be as unbiased as possible. So, yeah, before we close out, though, the podcast, a couple of news that happened off the ice. Number 1, the draft lottery happened. Nothing changed in terms of how it was supposed to be positioned based on probability.
Like the odds matched
exactly how it did.
the positioning.
There was a slight concern when a leak happened that potentially Utah now would be the second pick.
Yeah.
San Jose was gonna win that lottery. So in this case, San Jose they won the lottery, well deserved because they were the shittest team in the league.
Good job,
that's
guys.
why it's well deserved.
Good job, guys.
Macklin Celebrini sweepstakes go there. Couple of news with that is we're just happy that 2 Vancouver kids are not going to Chicago and Chicago be overpowered like how they got Taze and Kane and went on a dynasty.
Back-to-back years, yeah.
Yeah, and then B.
I mean, they're still good players.
Macklin Celebrini is going to be closer to the Bay Area, and the reason why we're saying that is because his dad, Rick Celebrini, is the on the medical staff, medical training staff of the Golden State Warriors. So he is closer to family.
Another fun fact, I think he's played in San Jose for like junior hockey for a little bit as well.
Yeah, because obviously his dad being in the Bay Area.
And then one more last fun fact. I think this is the first time where nothing changed in the draft lottery since 2010, I believe, as well.
I don't know, because I know Matthews the Toronto year. I wasn't sure how much it changed.
I know, but this nothing changed from 1 to 14.
But so that's crazy. In a way, kind of boring if you want to look at it that way.
That was boring.
But because there was no drama. But hey, at least it's proven that it's maybe not rigged.
Yeah, that's true.
Other news. So we touched on it last time when we talked about the Toronto Boston series, Game 7 that happened. And it's official now. Sheldon Keefe has been let go. He has been fired. The Maple Leafs brass of Smith Pelly, Shanahan, and Treliving met with the media on Friday. From what I heard, it wasn't the greatest presser. based on like you didn't get like a lot of good takes from it. I guess if you're a reporter for the Maple Leafs or national media or whatever. So it looks like Shanahan is staying at the moment. It wasn't like Shanahan's getting fired on the spot or like they agreed.
Fire him on the presser.
Yeah, that. But no, going back to the Keefe thing, yes. Like, am I saying are we saying that he deserved to be fired? Sure, because it's been like we were saying about Brindamore. It's been 7 years, or whatever many years since. I think he was the coach after Babcock, right? Like,
Yeah.
So he was the coach since the Babcock firing. Again, no one win in the second round in that tenure. A lot of choke jobs in no sense. Montreal being the biggest one in the last couple of years. I like the fact they kept him around because he's still a good coach. No matter what, he's still a good coach. Reason why you could argue somewhat of a scapegoat is because the players did not perform as well, right? Like biggest one being Mitch Marner. And before you go, I still think he should, if he wants to, should be considered for head coaching positions that are available, which is. Who knows what's gonna happen in Carolina? Maybe they do a swap themselves, or Jersey, right? Jersey's in on Craig Berube. We said that Toronto might be in on Craig Berube. Winnipeg, I think, should go with that assistant coach that helped them succeed. But if they decide to go a different route, he should be considered. And then we'll truly know if it's Sheldon Keefe or the players.
That's true because there's still debate of like who's more at fault in the playoffs. Is it Keefe or is it guys like Marner, Matthews, and Tavares?
Yeah,
right?
I'm not saying Nylander at all.
I'm not saying Nylander. Yeah. I'm not saying Nylander. Or defensive issues or goaltending.
So front office,
right? Roster construction, right? So like a lot of things, like everything went wrong for the Maple Leafs in the playoffs every time they made it. So we can't really single out Keefe, but he had to get fired. I'm not saying that. And I do think I agree with you. Keefe should get another opportunity and like really see if he could prove himself. I like the New Jersey in the sense of for him
still
being the best
team.
spot just because
get him a goalie.
They're good. Yeah, they're a good squad. That's
just get him a good
goalie.
Same thing with Jay Woodcroft. Like I hope he gets an opportunity somewhere as well.
Yeah,
like, this is obviously a way earlier.
Well, there's a difference, right? Like if Keefe was that bad of a head coach, right? He wasn't making the playoffs then.
Yeah.
Right, because we already know the issues of this Maple Leafs team is that their defense is lackluster and their goaltending is lackluster.
And the big players did perform in the playoffs.
I know, but I'm talking about in regular season.
Oh, regular season, yeah.
Right, like there were issues in the regular season, like clearly, but Keefe has managed a way to get them to the playoffs every single year.
Yeah. So yeah, it's ultimate. Like I get it. We see why the firing happened. It's been a while. That's the easiest guy to fire. You, even though you did give him a 2-year extension that did not kick in yet. So Keefe's happy. He's getting paid.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, so we'll see how that goes. Like I said, there are openings out there that I believe he should have a chance at, and we'll see how that goes. The question mark for them now is, what are the big changes? Is Marner really going to get moved? If he even takes away his no-move clause, we talked about the last time, so we're not going to get too much into it. But yeah.
Shout out Keefe, Brad. Brad did a video message for the Leafs fan.
Yeah.
Right? If people doesn't know it, he's like, I ain't doing a note. Talk to you, using voice and
yeah. I mean, like I said, like you could. I have the time for an argument that he is a scapegoat. Like you have time for that argument, right?
Yeah,
so
but at the same time,
it's been you haven't let them.
You had 7 years, 6 years.
That's
why.
But I'm here for that argument of the scapegoat strictly because the players didn't perform and the front office did not.
Yeah, like it's not. If people are saying that it's all on Keefe, they're wrong. If people are saying that now Keefe's gone, we're gonna make a massive run next year, you're wrong, because it's more than the head coach. The players don't perform in the biggest moments, except for Nylander, what a stud. And the roster construction is just not great because, defensively, they're not good. Goaltending wise, obviously, they're not good. Other than, inconsistent, I would say at best, because, Samsonov had some good games and some bad games. And obviously, Joseph Wall, when healthy, he has been really good for them. Okay,
so I think we didn't talk about this last time. It just came to the top of my head before we closed it out, the awards. Especially the most recent ones that were announced. So Selke, I think it's Barkov, Jordan Staal, Austin Matthews, right? I think Barkov is the front runner of that one. Ted Lindsay is Austin Matthews, Nathan McKinnon, and Nikita Kucherov. And the Hart, which was one that everybody will talk about, is Kucherov, McDavid, and McKinnon. Right. So here's the question I have for you. Because obviously Leaf fans feel that way, and I kind of see their point in this sense, right? I think the Ted Lindsay one is player voted, right? So McDavid didn't get the player vote on that one, so the players feel like Matthews should have been a Hart finalist. I guess you could say it that way. So my question to you is: do you feel like Matthews? I don't want to say the word robbed, but should have been at least in. Okay, I guess you could say robbed because at first I was like, no, why would he get in? He has 69 goals, whatever, right? There's more to it than goals. But he's also a Selke finalist. And he had a good, like, from what I heard, he did have a good defensive year as well.
Well, that's why he's a Selke finalist.
Yeah, so that's what so that point
But the thing is this, bro. Yeah, 69 goals is great. Don't get me wrong. It's absolutely fantastic. He had a fantastic year. But 150 points for two of the three guys in the Hart finalists.
no one's talking about, I think, McDavid, or Matthews, or Kucherov and McKinnon. I think it's more of the McDavid talk.
He still had 150 points.
He had 150 still?
Did he? Or like he had 100 assists, I think.
I know he missed time for he had 100 assists.
Yeah,
I don't think he had
was.
50 goals this year.
Yeah, I don't think he had 50 goals. That was 100 assists. I think Kucherov had 150. McDavid had 150 last year. That's what it was.
This is playoffs. Okay. Points 144 Kucherov, 140 McKinnon.
Wait, was 100 assists for Kucherov then? Easy.
Yeah,
too.
and then McDavid also got 100 assists, and he had 32, so 132 points there.
132,
Matthews obviously had
144.
69 goals, which obviously.
Okay, no, I flipped it. Yeah, I messed it up.
And but he had 107 points.
Did McKinnon
overall.
have 150 points?
No one had 150 points.
Why am I tripping out?
Kucherov had 144, and McKinnon got.
So I'm just tripping out with the 100 assists.
Yeah.
I know Matthews does have a case. Kucherov, McKinnon are in. There's no debate about that. The debate is between McDavid and
Matthews.
And Matthews.
And literally both sides split it that way.
I think is I don't know.
The reason why I'm going Matthews.
I'm not upset if you know.
I'm not
if it
upset
wasn't
either.
Matthews. Yeah, I'm just not upset
either.
Because like man had 100 assists. Man, you know,
It's Connor McDavid.
it's Connor McDavid. He's gonna get the name voting, obviously, like
But
because
if
of
you're
his
going
name.
with the whole year thing as well, McDavid didn't have a great start.
Yeah, McDavid also injured at the start.
Yeah, but I'm saying he played and he still didn't have the greatest start.
But there was spurts in
But
time
if
where,
Matthews did not score the goals, I don't know who the second highest goal scorer was on that team either.
But I'm assuming that like you know, McDavid also made Hyman's year.
That too, yeah, which is fair point as well. So, yeah, I'm not gonna say highway robbery. I could see an argument of why.
I know, like I'm not saying,
like the NBA MVP.
if someone
it's the
comes
same thing.
if someone comes up to me and is like, "Yo, Matthews should have been in the Hart finalists," I'm not gonna say you're wrong.
Yeah,
That's what I'm gonna say.
The reason why for me it elevated was because of the Selke vote.
Yeah, no.
So you're telling me he scored 69 goals and was elevated the defensive side of the game as well. That's the argument I have. Again, I don't care. I really don't care. We're just doing this because we have a podcast and we have the sake of discussion, and it's a good discussion to have of like McDavid and Matthews in this case.
I would lean towards McDavid still, just cause.
Just cause why?
Just cause.
Just cause.
Just cause. No, it's not that because like obviously coach firing. There's a time period where Edmonton has been the best team in the league, and I don't think the Leafs at any point in the season were the best team in the league. Like they were like I don't see a stretch in time where the Leafs were they were dominating and had that beat that top team for like a couple weeks or a month, right? Ever since the All-Black hiring, Edmonton
Edmonton was
was
arguably the best team in the league or like top 3 team in the league.
Exactly,
sure.
Right. And
so, but my point with the Matthews one is like again the dude scored like almost at a goal a game pace, right?
Yeah,
the
that's
highest
insane.
goals since Lemieux, right? Even start passing Ovechkin in that
That's
sense.
insane.
So again, there's an argument like same thing with the NBA.
At this rate, I'm just looking at team success because both teams, like at the end of the day, how often do you see people getting 100 assists?
Yeah, if you're like a team successful, Kucherov was in the wildcard spot, but the Kucherov is like the second guy in points was like 50 below him.
Yeah, like Kucherov was a carry essentially. And
it's a good discussion to have. Again, we don't have a say. Good thing we don't have votes because my vote would have been McKinnon, but I'm just saying like it's a good talk to have because of him being a Selke finalist. That's the reason.
Yeah,
if it wasn't the Selke case, I'm like, yeah, it's easy McDavid.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what elevated the thing for me. But yeah, no, it's gonna be fun. At least the awards are at least fun. There's discussions. Like I said, check out the NBA pod. We talked about why we voted for. We would have had a vote for Shea. If we had a vote, we would have voted for Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. Nothing against Jokic or Doncic. Right? We're not going hater mode like Shaq was in that one. And this one, like again, if McKinnon doesn't get it and Kucherov gets it, fair. If McDavid gets it, okay, we might.
I'll have an issue with that.
Then we'll have a slight issue with that one. But even like it's gonna be a fun award race for all for these 3 awards that we just mentioned today.
Oh yeah, it should be a fun road race.
With that being said, that's the end of the podcast for today. The NBA one will be next whenever a couple of games more left, whether some series might be over or not for that. So make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and the noti bell so you guys know when we drop a video, podcast episode, whatever, YouTube short even. Make sure you guys follow our socials linked down below: Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. We might be looking into making a Discord in the future, so keep an eye out on that as well. Audio listeners, as always, we appreciate you guys rating the podcast, reviewing it, and putting a review down and downloading the podcast as well. So yeah, make sure you guys have fun with the rest of the playoffs going along the way, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.
Peace.